Hi, this is Eric Martin with BoardGameGeek. I'm here with Jamie Johnson from Holy Grail Games.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, glad to have you. And you're here talking, you've got a prototype here for Outlaws.
Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
A werewolf meets Who's Who meets Cowboys game.
Okay.
Which is an unusual description, I know, but I was sold it that way and that piqued my interest, so I try and keep it going.
Okay.
So,
you already get a sense of this as we're looking at these characters.
Yes.
Which normally these would be lined up
hopefully
facing
you can
me
see
and they're
them all.
hidden. But
exactly. Normally we'd have 2 rows of cards facing one another.
Okay.
Much like Who's Who, as it were. Instead of a grid, you'd have a row. And basically this is a Wild West scene game where each player has a governor. And the objective of the game is to get the opposing governor to drop out of the presidential race. And while that's happening, I will point out this is a prototype. Nice. The cards are very thin.
And there's a fan blowing.
There is a fan somewhere above us. So. But then again, we come to conventions for feedback on the game, but also on the material. And now we've learned that we need to make these cards thicker or have them with thicker stands or maybe punch toward them. So my apologies if they fall over a lot during this video, but they won't when they come out. Okay. But anyway, I digress. The objective of the game, that's the one. So the objective of the game is to get the opposing governor to drop out the presidential race. Okay. There are 3 ways to do this. The good way, the bad way, and can you guess the 3rd way?
The ugly way.
There you go.
All right.
The good way is to win through votes, the official way. The bad way is to assassinate the opposing governor, and the ugly way is to stop the opposing hitman from assassinating your governor, and the political backlash will make him drop out of the race.
Okay.
There you go. So, I'll warn you now, the mechanics are super simple for this game, but because each character has their own ability, it's quite top-heavy for rules. So we've been demoing it all convention long, and people are a bit oof at the beginning, but once they, there it goes.
10 things to
remember, and they all interact with one another, a little bit out of werewolf.
Right.
And so it can get a bit cerebral at first, but once you get into it, it's deduction and bluff and treason. It's pretty good fun. Okay. So, each turn, a player has 2 actions. The first one you can do is move a character. So I'll replace this one with this one here. You can move a character around. Now you can do it like that, you can do it like this, you can do it however you want. You're not obliged to actually move the character. You can bluff and put them back where you place them.
Okay.
The second action is to move a character out of the saloon. You always have 8 characters visible and 2 face up. 8 characters hidden and 2 visible, called the saloon. You can swap a saloon character in with any other character. Now you can do all this again, but bearing in mind their face up, it'll make you look like a bit of a tit. So, there you go. Now the governor can never enter the saloon because he would never be seen in a place like that.
Okay.
Okay. Then the third action is to look at a token. You have to reveal your character card. In this game, whenever you do an action with something facing a character, you always reveal the character. So you reveal him.
Because there are 8 of these lined up in front of the...
In between each card, that's it. Okay. You look at it, and then you put it back down again. So there are 4 types of tokens. 5 types of tokens. There we go. You have votes. So this is what you need to win the game.
Okay.
If you have more votes than your opponent, even if it's just by 1, and your governor picks up the star, you win the game the good way. Okay. The bad way, bullets are for your hitman. If you want to try and assassinate someone, or assassinate the governor, you can only kill him, you need to spend a bullet token. Okay. And the sheriff is the one who can arrest the hitman, you need to spend handcuffs. Okay. And then you have the red cross, which is just a bluff, it does nothing. So you can, with that action, look at it and then put it back down without revealing it to your opponent. And the 4th action is, once again, to reveal your character, go vote, and then tell it, well, that was a bad idea. There we go, vote, you reveal it, and if it's what you said, you take it.
Okay.
And then all these slide down, and these would normally be a reserve, and they come in here. Okay. And it would all slide up. That's the easy rules. Now we get to the complex things because it's the character abilities. So, I'll try and go through this as quickly as I can, but once again, it's the top-heavy part of the game. The governor, he's your linchpin. If he dies, you lose the game. His powers, if he picks up the stars, you have more votes, you win the game.
Okay.
The hitman...
Immediately. As you're
boom, gone.
All right.
Otherwise, if you don't have more votes, you have to put the star down.
After revealing it.
After revealing it. As if you were going to take it, not just by looking at it.
Yes.
Now, the hitman is the one that can kill the opposing governor. He says, I'm going to try and assassinate that card. Your opponent turns you around. If it's the governor, you've won. You must spend this bullet token out of it. If it's nobody else, you lose. But if you do find the governor, you win. However, this is where it all starts crossing over, you have the sheriff. Now, if the sheriff is adjacent to the governor, when the assassin tries to kill him, he stops it. if he has a pair of handcuffs. Plus he arrests him, and that's the ugly way to win the game.
Okay.
He can also try and find the hitman before he leaps into action and arrest him that way. And he can also arrest the bandit, which stops him from doing anything.
And as he's doing all this with the cups, do they have to be directly across from one another?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why you need to move them around and be in front. That's it.
You want to make sure it wasn't just a token in front of the hitman.
We set them out like this so everybody can see the cards on the video.
Right.
But normally you would have 2 rows. You'd have a Mexican standoff.
Aiming at the victim immediately across.
Exactly. That's it. In rule of thumb, unless specified, it's always a card in front, but that can change once again.
Okay.
So, we talked about the bandit. The bandit, you reveal the card, and your opponent reveals the opposite card. If it's the hitman, you steal a bullet. If it's the sheriff, you steal some handcuffs.
Okay.
Okay. We have the Indian, very simple card. You reveal him, your opponent reveals the opposite card, and that's it. You have the lead dancer. Now she takes the card in front of her and swaps it with either of the 2 cards to each side of it. So she can draw cards away from other cards. So if you think there's a governor with the sheriff next door, you can draw the sheriff away and then go for the governor. That kind of thing. We have the hardware dealer. Now he interacts with the tokens. He can switch tokens around that are in front of him or swap them out with the reserve. Okay. So he's great if you want to shift through tokens, looking through votes, ammunition, handcuffs, whatever.
Or messing up opponent's plans.
Or messing up an opponent's plans. Moving the star away from him, there's loads of potential. Okay. The reporter is kind of like the Indian. However, he can only be used 3 times per game. And there is a reason for this, because you use the reporter, so you reveal him, and you name the card in front of you. If it's the card you named, that card then has to spend the rest of the game face up. Okay. However, you cannot name the governor because he is politically protected. And nobody would print a bad story about a governor.
Not in those times.
Maybe not in those times.
Okay.
Very true, very true. Yes. And then finally, we have the priest. Now, the priest protects the hitman or the bandit from being arrested if that card is to his left. Son of God and all that.
Okay.
Okay? So that can stop you from losing the game if your hitman's arrested. And if the bandit is arrested by the sheriff, it frees him from jail. And then you have the mayor. When a character card is revealed, it is to the right of the mayor card. You reveal the mayor as well, and you can increase the range of that ability by 1. So instead of the card just in front of you, you can look at the cards to either side, or that works for tokens too. However, obviously, it won't work on the hitman, because he only works alone. It won't work on the bandit, because you wouldn't be seen with the bandit. And it doesn't work on the lead dancer, because the mayor would never be seen with that kind of person.
That's right.
There you go. And that is all the characters. So once again, that has happened so many times during this convention. I swear it happened. Like, so many people have just gone trying to figure out what to do.
That's right. Game over.
So yeah. But it's quite a top-heavy game, but it's shown us that we need to increase the stability of the cards. But hey, that's what we're here for.
Okay.
And that's the long and short of the game. There's 3 ways to win it. The way you start out thinking you're going to win. The way you start out thinking you're going to win it isn't the way you generally finish. You have to be adaptable. There's a lot of bluffing, a lot of deduction. Have a good memory. That's a good piece of advice, I'd say.
Okay.
And there you go.
All right. Thanks very much for the overview. Outlaws.
And this will be on Kickstarter end of October.
October 2016.
There we go.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a nice day, guys.